Welcome to Live with Lori. As always, I am excited to get with you today. Come on in and say hello when you get here. I'm over the moon. This is going to be an awesome Live with Lori, an awesome masterclass, and can't wait to get with you. So, chat me up, you guys. Who is in the house today? Who is in the house? Let me pop on my glasses. Holy smokes. I see some of you. I'm hoping our messages are going to be okay today. Take a moment. Just say hey. Are you guys like able to chat me up? There you are. Oh my God. Okay. Here they all come at the same time. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Good morning. Sweet. Come on in. Hello. Come on in. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Megan. Hello, Holly. Hello. Hello. Come on in. Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I love it when you say hi to me because these live streams for me are really a co-creation. I'm glad you're here too. I see you all the time in the group, so I'm glad to have you. So these classes or these live streams that I love to do for you guys are such a co-creation. And so it's kind of like if I could tell you a lot about who I am as a coach and how intuitive I am, it's like the minute that I plug into your energy, it's like I can almost start to hear what you guys need. So come on and say hey. If you have something you want to get out of today, just say hello. I hope that I hope to bring a really good class for you today, and I am excited. So I have taught this one before in other iterations, I guess. But it's been a while, like to the tune of maybe like even 4 or 5 years. So I'm always talking about like standing in your power, but I really wanted to get clear on what that means, and how we do it, and how we are, when I use the word block, I use that loosely, but how we are blocking ourselves from being in our power. I have some good things today. So come on in. Hello, 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 hello. So some of you are probably new to me, so I want to just briefly introduce myself. I'm Lori Opal. I have been coaching for what feels like, and it has been really a lifetime. My background was that I was a counselor and did social work and case management. And I was in the counseling industry for quite a while I actually built my coaching practice in the early years. And then at some point, I decided it was time. Coaching back then, because it was literally 1997. I've almost been a coach for almost 30 years. And it was way back then. I mean, people didn't even know what coaching was. And today it's like, it is like, it is trending, right? like the coaching industry is absolutely booming. But what you get here with me is kind of a way that we blend our psychology, right? But also with our spirituality and also with metaphysics. And it really is how I help unite um, work for you guys. I also say that loosely, but how I bring the work together so that you can experience both a transformation in who you're becoming and manifest your best life. I have always said you can't manifest your best life without transforming yourself, and you never transform yourself without, on the flip side, manifesting a better life. Those two things go hand in hand, and it's energetics, to be really honest. But the emotional work that we think is psychology is actually energetics, right? It's the emotions are the energy, and the journey lies right in the sweet spot of that. I have a pretty feminine approach for the most part. But when you say stand in your power, that almost feels a little bit like, this like gritty, which I am, more masculine, more rising energy, which it is. But I also want to say, I want to look at both the yin and yang of that, because where you actually switch that power on in terms of our magnetism is through the yin, it's through the feminine, it's through the softness, it's through the light. And so when I talk about how to stand in your power, yes, I'm saying let's pull up our spiritual bootstraps and rise, right? Because there's an ascension that's happening. But I'm also saying let's turn on the light, because when we do, we become so magnetic that the things that are on our vision board start jostling on the field of consciousness, and they start moving toward us. So I'm not going to go deep on magnetic center work during this class. I just want to kind of get to some of the nitty gritty of the emotional energetics of what it means to stand in your power and create your life. But I do want to say on every single level, this is magnetic center work. And so what we're exploring is ways that we can ignite our magnetic center. A lot of people are just talking about law of attraction, or they're talking about, hacking the universe, or they're talking about, and I talk about quantum leaps, and I love to talk about that stuff too. But where I've seen the most shift is when you say, I'm going to become magnetic. And apparently I have a magnetic center, which means that I can activate a sequence that helps me actually turn my light on. So I'm going to wiggle with you into some deeper territory today, rather than like keep you in the umbrella, like in the umbrella work. I want to just wiggle into a little deeper dive today with you. But for all practical purposes, I teach the cusp equation, which activates your magnetic center. And quite simply, briefly, that is conscious creation plus unwavering worthiness plus synchronicity as a divine intelligence and prosperity consciousness. And when we start turning the switches of these pillars and we bring them together, so to speak, it's like these things, when practiced together, start to ignite us in a certain way that your mind can't really make sense of, because all of a sudden it's like the train starts to leave the station. You're like, chunk, there I get. Okay, we're moving. But I didn't do anything different. I started to vibrate different. I started to be a different frequency. I started to hold myself in a different light. That's what we're talking about today. And I started to I started to look at life through a different lens. And when I start to operate these things in union while tending to myself and personally transferring myself, life starts to change. And I've been, like I said, coaching for a very long time. And it was really important to me to bring you guys like systems that really work, systems that you can embody, systems that you can live. Because I don't care how much you know, and I'm going to teach you some things today, but I do not care how much you know. You have to get embodied in the work. So more than anything, I want you to like let this settle in your bones. And if it feels right to move forward with working with me or doing some of the work on your own, I'm going to invite you to reach out to me so that I can help you along this path, because the system, the cusp equation, when embodied, works. And so I just want to like lay that out in case some of you are new to me. We have had so much change in the last, even, I don't want to say year or two, but even in the last like 3 or 4 months, we opened a new group and invited many of you there. So if you haven't hit the new group, please go find the link for that or ask me. I'd love to get you in there. We're doing really good things, including these live streams. So if you're not in there yet, I really want to have you in there. It's good energy, peaceful, aligned, beautiful energy. And I'm being very careful how we create this new office space. So with that said, so today, talking about standing in your power. And like I said, it feels kind of masculine. It feels gritty. And even though I am very gritty in my spiritual growth, there's this softer side that I want you guys to take a look at. So I want to tell you a story. You've probably heard it before, but when I was in my early years of coaching, I was creating the butterfly experiment, the first iteration. I was creating some abundance classes. I called myself a prosperity coach. I was kind of like trying to figure myself out. And I started to receive the downloads of what I now today call a sacred sequence, AKA the stack. I still call it the stack. But stacks, when brought together in a certain way, would create that train leaving the station kind of effect where you'd be like, I just felt the quantum field move under my feet, right? And so I had done a 30-day experiment with my people. I still do this to the day, you guys. You can go get the 21 days. You can go into the group and get the 21 days. I have 5-day challenges. I still am doing that kind of work. But I had done a 30-day experiment and I looked at the stack and I'm just like, at the time there were 4 steps on that stack, 4 steps on that sacred sequence. And I was still, as I always will be, along with you, I am a seeker and a teacher. I'm like, I will always be the student and the teacher. I will always be saying, universe, what's next? I will always be saying what's in store for me so I can share it with everyone else. Like I will always be there. And I remember looking at this like sequence of this 30-day experiment and being like, it's so simple and it works so well. Like, why is that jostling the field? Like, that's really jostling the field. And I am on a like synchronistic joyride. And so it wasn't long after that, the universe, my guidance, my inner being delivered me this quote by Abraham Hicks, and it changed everything for me, for you guys, for the practice, for how we like inroad the work. And it was Abe saying, the appreciation of self and the appreciation of others is the highest vibrational match to source energy we've seen anywhere in this universe. And it struck me. And that's why I tell this story over and over and over again, because we human beings cannot ever hear it enough. Appreciation of self and the appreciation of others is the highest vibrational match to source energy we've seen anywhere in this universe. And so for me, the work has always been about deep self-love. It's always been about deep self-love and appreciation. So I look back at my little mini 4-step stack back then during that 30-day experiment and all that material. And I literally was like, oh my God, I can see why this works, because this is where our human journey meets our spiritual journey in the name of self-love and appreciation. And this is an inroad to making ourselves a vibrational match to source. And I took it even further. And what can source not do? What does this mean? Oh my gosh. And suddenly I started to have like experiences of awakening where I was not separate from source. And so, but like all this work, all these things we're going to be talking about today is really gateway oriented, because we need to walk through the gateway and then experience the next unfolding. Walk through the gateway, experience the next expansion. There will be sages and coaches and spiritual teachers in my circle and maybe in this room today that know this stuff. And I humbly say, I bring myself to it still every day, because in this journey, there isn't anywhere to get to. It's a choice to stand in your power every single day. Human being, spiritual being, having a united experience. And when we get and stop judging ourselves about where we should be on our spiritual path, we get further on our spiritual path. So I say this to you guys like so lovingly, because we want to get powerful, get what we want, and move on. And I'm going to say that is ever so slightly flawed, because I want you to understand what it means to be powerful, choose it daily, and participate fully in the being the powerful conscious creator that you actually really are. So there is nowhere to get to. There's a future self that is unfolding that we get to dance with in this journey. So tell me how this is landing for you, you guys. Let me hear you in the comments. Is this landing? Because I hope it is. So I want to always tee us up, because I want to invite us I want to invite us to the next version of ourselves. And to invite us to the next version of ourselves, I want you to actually do the work right now as I kick off this first point. I want you to think about, what do I really love and appreciate about myself right now? Feel your energy soften, because when you soften, you start walking through a gateway. And when you walk through a gateway, everything is available on the other side. So, another thing that I want to share, and we all want to solve the misalignment. And true, so do I. Like, I always want to come back into my alignment. I always want to come back into my peace. I always want to come back into the fullness of myself. I always want to find like how I can collapse time a little bit and have my life be a bit more of a joy ride, because I'm in it for the bliss ride. But this quote, I want to I want to put it in front of us today, because it is this: you cannot solve a problem, whatever you deem that to be, from the level, finish it for me, it was created. You cannot solve a problem from the level it was created. So in my world, in Lori world, it's very important for me to say, let's step into our most powerful selves, and then let's heal ourselves. A lot of other philosophies, and it's just a different school of thought, says I need to heal myself to get powerful. And I go, how about get powerful, heal yourself, get powerful, heal yourself, get powerful, heal, get powerful, heal, be powerful, be powerful, be powerful, know your power, heal, stand in your power all the time. I'm healing as I go. Oh my gosh, look at my evolution. So for me, it's a becoming. And I want to give you like something to breathe, because I will tell you through the eyes actually of myself as a therapist, right? As that counselor in me, the psychology. I want you to like love yourself, like your life depends on it. And I also want you to like really understand that you need to meet yourself where you're at, kindly, gently, beautifully, and say, look where I can go. You know, one of the most powerful things that I can offer you is the power of the word and. But you get to be growing and clearing and in your power. And so it's really a game of toggle on your evolutionary unfolding. So Megan, I did a tarot reading for someone recently, and as I worked through it, I heard the phrase, oh my gosh, you can't grow real roses buying false flowers. Same. Yes, yes. Right? So I want to give you just hi Patricia, heart opening and joy. I'm so glad to hear that. Awesome. Yeah, keep your comments coming. Like, I can peek on your comments once in a while, you guys, and it really is a co-creation. So feel free to chat it up with me and each other. So when we look at the work of standing in your power so that you can create, you can hear where I'm shifting you already, right? I'm shifting you to the light. I'm shifting you to choose the love that you are. I'm shifting you into what's possible when you do. And I'm shifting you into a place where you say, well, when I actually empower myself first, it stands to reason. This is just logic for me, by the way. If I become my most powerful self first, it stands to reason that not everything that follows that, no matter what you go through. And trust me, I coach a lot of people who have been in what we refer to as kind of dark nights of the soul, big challenges. You know, when I say you're on the cusp, sometimes when you're on the cusp, you're on the cusp of sometimes something amazing, and also on the cusp of big change, big transformation. And wherever you are, I want you to look at it logically for just a half second. If I become my most powerful, empowered self for a moment, would that be a better place to deal with my issues, my problems, my challenges as they present? On one end, we have problems that we need to solve, and on the other end, we have none. So that too is a toggle. So I'm talking very broadly, broad spiritual journey there. But Either way, we have to meet ourselves where we're at and say, I love the notion that my most powerful self is here to help the part of me that feels weak, that feels like it's ready to transform, that feels like she needs some support, thinking that she can actually do this thing. Because, I mean, sometimes my most empowered moments come from my most empowered self coaching the part of me that needs help, that needs the support, and sometimes I reach out to my people. Sometimes I dive into my spirituality. Sometimes I tap into a different level of the work because I know it's time for me to grow. So, um, so I want to just like have this great tee up. So I am bringing you 4 shifts today, right? I'm going to read that comment, T. I'm going to, there's a lot there. So I'll have to maybe come back to that. But chat that up with each other. So I'm going to get into these key secrets, because they are really powerful shifts for you to contemplate and let this sink in your bones. All right. Because there is somewhere for you to go with these keys, with these points, with these treasures, whatever you want to call this. So, number 1, when we're talking about getting into our most empowered self, I want to bring it back to that Abe quote for a second. And I want to broaden this. I want you to understand not only is appreciation of self and the appreciation of others the highest vibrational match to source energy we've seen anywhere in this universe, Abe, I also want you to entertain this idea that you as a spiritual being hanging out in this temple of your body and this experience of your life, I want to have you entertain that your divine worthiness, let's take it up a notch, right? From self-appreciation, but your actual divine worthiness, the divine light that you are, is your first vibration. So how I teach this, and it's a starting point, but how I teach this is to imagine that you've got this lens called my worthiness, this lens called my divine connection to my highest self. And this lens is the lens through which all other things are created. So key number 1, or point number 1, is your divine worthiness is your first vibration. Just like feel me on this for a minute, because that for a lot of people is like this mic drop kind of moment. It's like, my divine worthiness is my first vibration. Holy smokes. And it would stand to reason that, and I'm going to turn this to manifestation for a second. It would stand to reason that if I wanted to manifest the love of my life, if I did that manifestation work, or I did that healing work, having it come through my first vibration, that vibration tuned to the highest I could in that moment, even if not perfect. Your first vibration, as I like to say, is the filter through which that manifestation, that love, that joy, that whatever's on your vision board flows through. So if you said to yourself, what do I want to create? Oh, I want to create $1 million. It's not, am I a match to the $1 million? That's not your step 1. It's a step, but it's not your step 1. Your step 1 is, if I really want to stand in my power, I gotta check in with my connection to my divine worthiness. Is my divine worthiness lens, filter, first vibration, that through which all other things that I desire to create in my life, is that in check? Because if that's not in check, if that's not, when they say raise your vibration, I think this. I think, is my divine worthiness, is that in alignment? Am I aligned there? Because everything that I desire is filtered through that. So if I'm not standing in my worthiness, or I'm not loving on myself, or I've got self-depreciating thoughts, or I feel, or I have, and we're going to talk a little bit about this and stuff too, but if I have beliefs that aren't serving me about myself, if my relationship with myself is not where I know it could be. I used to say I have a PhD, I have a PhD in unworthiness because I spent a lot of my life finding ways to take back my power, finding ways to speak my truth, finding ways to get rooted in who I really am, finding ways to honor myself, finding ways to have boundaries, finding ways to really, truly, I think the word is almost like respect and honor my intuition. Like there's this becoming of myself that lives here in my worthiness, because we were all born worthy and then we got unworthy. And you all know, most of you are going to hang out with me and you're all going to know, yes, I know I should love myself, but understand that that's a step one vibration. I want you to be like, oh my gosh, I want you to have this moment where you say, if self-love or my divine worthiness is my first vibration through which all other manifestations come to fruition in my reality, what's my lens right now? Yeah, I love money, but do I love myself? Because when you love yourself, you're really starting to stand in your power, which leads me to number two. Not only awareness about that, but number two, remove all things that dim that power, that dim that light, that dim that. And this is where we start, where we start to tip the scales and say, okay, I'm going to infuse myself, become a vibrational match to the love that I am. And then part two, from that place, because it's higher than the point of the problem, right? That was the quote. It was you can't solve a problem from the level it was created. But if you're doing your divine worthiness work, all of a sudden you're like, I can solve problems, which then you get to say, I get to remove all the things that dim my light, dim my worthiness, dim my power. So I'm giving you guys like power switch, right? These are like power switch keys: worthiness, and then remove all the things that dim my light. So when you look at your life, I can simply ask you, what are the things that dim your light? And it might be beliefs and stress I left to myself because I think this is clever. But beliefs and stress, it's really the BS. Beliefs and stress, it's the BS. These are the things that dim my light. What's the BS in your life? Dim your light. What is that? So it could be conditioning. It could be scarcity consciousness, right? It could be that you feel misunderstood. It could be that you're struggling because you feel rejection. It could be that you have grief. It could be all kinds of things. But we have a consciousness that when we clear it to the highest level, when we remove those things, what's left over? More of you, more of your power. And I will tell you every single time, I know this is like a high level conversation, but when you come to the place where you say, what is standing in my way? It's anything I think or believe or feel or embody that isn't in alignment with what is limitless, what is infinite, what my heart believes, what my heart knows. And you might say, but Lori, this is reality, right? You might say, Lori, I don't have this XYZ money in the bank. I don't have this opportunity. It's the economy is bad. This is happening in the world. We would say there's all these conditions. And I would say there are all those conditions. And now what? Now what? Do we want to keep them or not? So when you shift your belief and you remove the stress broadly, and you start to step into your power as the creator of your reality, you start asking yourself questions like, What do I want to keep? Is that a match to my dream? Is it a match to my power? Is it a match to the outcome that I seek? And if it's not, there's the inroad to the work. There's something else to choose, because you cannot solve the problem, which is for us, we're not getting what we want, basically. It's like, why do we do the work? Because we want to change our life. That's why. Because we want to be empowered. That's why. Because we like being magical. That's why. Because we love the experience of synchronicities and a divine unfolding. That's why. Because we love to juice the creation. We love to come here and create. But when we buy into the belief and the stress and the conditioning and the scarcity consciousness, those are the things that dim our power, right? So I'm trying to catch some of your question here. But that's a big one. So I want to keep on with the points here. But number 3. All right, let me land the plane on this, you guys. So key number 3. So you can see how these things start to thread together, right? We step into our divine worthiness. We remove all the things that dim our light. And the next one is to operate from our future self. So it's not just your future self per se, it's your highest self. It's your inner being self. It's the part of you that is the next evolution from where you are sitting right now, which doesn't feel like that far away. But your future self is the one that you want to say, I think I want to like tap into that becoming, because here I spin my wheels. And if I'm operating from my future self, I'm being pulled forth moment to moment into the next iteration, the next evolution, the next version of me, and all the things that I desire in my life start dropping in as I evolve. I mean, there is a manifestation formula, and it's called the cusp equation. But unwavering worthiness is there for a reason, because it's you standing in your power. Can you see how this is thread together? Like, there is a really specific formula that when you see it, you can't not see it. So operating from my future self, how do we do that? And I have lots to say about that, because I walk people through, really five archetypes. The archetypes of becoming is what I call it. We move from dream weaver, butterfly, goddess, divine crystalline creator, luminary, to and fro, in and out. And so that embodies like who you are as a seeker, but who you are as someone who, most of the people that I work with, has some kind of calling, some kind of light work, some kind of expression where they're like, I want to be the highest expression of myself. And then I become the highest expression of myself. And how did I get back into my humanity? And that therein lies the question. And the becoming is always about a toggle and an expansion and a toggle and another expansion. That's how becoming works. So let's say we're not going to dive into the work of Dreamweaver, Butterfly, Goddess, Divine Crystalline Creator, and Luminary right now. But when I say operate like her, you can simply ask yourself the question, what's my future self look like right now? Who would she be if I were her? What's that look like? What would the highest version of me look like? Write that down, vision that, and feel that for a minute, because the moment that you do, you've just laid it on the field. So when we are consciously creating, yes, we are activating our magnetic center, but the visioning process and the laying it on the field, as I like to talk about it, is a very real process that very much collapses your timeline towards that version of you. So call her up right now. I'm going to give you like the light version of this, but I want you to call her up right now, your future self. And as you're thinking about the life that you want to live, ask these questions. What would her commitment be? What would she choose? What would she decide? How would she be feeling right now? It's 4 things: decide, commit, choose, feel. Like, what would be her state of being right now? And if I'm not a vibrational match to that state of being, there's a part of me that gets held apart from that. And not that there's a, and I'm going to like always say I'm fierce and soft, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I buy into the journey and I buy into the evolution. And I also buy into my beautiful humanity and my beautiful self as a luminary on this earth right now. I buy into both experiences. So there's nothing wrong with being separate from her. But there's something to be said about becoming a vibrational match to your next self and your next self and your next self, and becoming more and more and more and more and more and more empowered. And it doesn't matter to me if you've just gone through the darkest night of your soul. There is a next version of you tomorrow, if you choose it, who will decide, who will commit, who will choose, who will be, who will feel, and who will quite literally guide a light, guide a path, open a path for you as you focus on her. It's a becoming. It is a becoming, and it is healing work meets manifestation work meets future self work. So look right now. Look right now. Say, who do I want to become? What would she feel like? And there's another one beyond that that you may not even know yet. And beyond that, and beyond that. I am not the same coach as I was. I'm not the same person as I was 4 years ago. That iteration of me, oof, quantum leap. There was a quantum leap there for me. And I will take it every time. So decide, commit, choose as her. Like, what would she decide? What would she commit to? What would she choose? How would she feel? And play with this. What would that even feel like for you guys? Tell me in the chat. How does that feel? Scary? Crazy? How does that feel? Tell me how that feels. And if you're watching me on replay, I want to hear from you. Patricia, freedom and grace. Yeah. For me, fully expressed. Fully expressed and freedom. Yeah. It's just like, holy smokes, there I am. Right? Megan, excited. Yeah. Yeah. Keep them coming. Tell me how you'd feel. So, you feel your power there? T, softness. Yeah, that too. Do you feel your power there? It's both rising and light infused as I walk you through these gateways. Walk through these gateways. They have to be intentional, you know? And as I even like evolve, and I have sequence upon sequence and stack upon stack, and I spin this work because I want you guys to all know that there are facets here. Really, like I always say, we're divine crystalline creators, but we are walking crystals, right? We walk through healing our wounded dreamer. We walk through becoming the butterfly. We walk in potential and possibility and manifestation. We walk through goddess. We walk through this relationship with our inner being. We walk through becoming this like divine crystalline creator that we can identify with. It's mastery and luminary. Holy smokes, that's who we become in the world. So gateways, these start to make sense. And can you feel the power that lives here? Because conscious creation becomes so much easier to apply when we walk through this first. So sidebar. So I have this in the Manifestation 100. I have, we're on day 10 today of a round of the Manifestation 100. Yes, I am still running it. And we're running it in the new group, actually. And there's about 20 of you or so that are doing that program with me right now. And there's this lesson, it's not today, and I think it might be day 2, but I talk a lot about like the 100% responsibility model. And that, when I first wrote that program, or when I first wrote the M100, which was 2014, and since there's been iterations as well. When I first wrote that program, like lesson 2 was the 100% responsibility model, right? And it kind of morphed over the years to be the 100% empowerment model. The 100% responsibility model says, I'm 100% responsible for my life, what I create and what I create. And for some, there's a trigger point in there because sometimes life feels like it happens to us. And sometimes we go through storms that that shouldn't ever have happened. So we all have a different life story. So I started to say, can we infuse the 100% responsibility model, which feels a lot like rise energy and gritty. And it is. It is. And it's also like how I choose to move forward in choice, in decision, in commitment, right? But I decided to see if I could infuse that with the empowerment model. So the 100% responsibility model got sort of joined and united with the 100% empowerment model that says, I create my reality 100% responsibility. And no matter what, no matter when, I choose to empower myself now. And when I rest in the 100% responsibility model, I can get excited, especially knowing that I'm the one who can create. I'm the one who knows I can create. I mean, do you know how I get excited about this? I create waves on the quantum field when I touch it with my highest self vibration. When I'm in my work and I'm working the sequence or I'm working the stack or I'm clearing a thing or I'm raising myself to the next version of myself, I get super excited about the fact that I create my reality. I really do. Because guess what? I have some sense of creative control here. But then I hit something that needs healing, or I hit something that tweaks me. And then I say, I'm not there yet. And that's okay. But I will choose 100% empowerment model. And I will choose to stand in my power and empower myself moment to moment, day to day, no matter what I've experienced, even if it feels out of my control. I honor this human journey. And in the same breath, I stand in my power as I walk through it. I feel fierce about that. Can you tell? Right? So it leads me to number 4. And that is to live life, not just as your future self, but I'm going to like actually leave you on a more embodiment thing. I want you to live life as though it's happening for you. Like this is happening for you. You get to stand in your power and live life as if it's happening for you. And it's rough sometimes because we go through these patches, right? But 100% empowerment model infused, we live as though life is happening for us, even though we can't see how yet. Even though you might be working through I work with women mostly on the cusp of lots of transformation and change. Sometimes it's joyful and sometimes it's healing work. So wherever you are, life is happening for me, not to me, is a little bit of a shift into how could I see this a little differently. So we operate, and I want you to hear this because there's some internal things. I worked on this week knowing that I was going to talk to you guys about this, but there's some human conditionings that I want you to hear, because if you say this in yourself, you have to take a look. Am I living as though life is happening for me or to me? And to me sounds like this. I don't even like to conjure it up, but I need you to be able to see it. So here's just a small mirror to say, is this me? We sometimes say this. Every time things start going well, something bad happens, right? So we brace for life. We brace. We live life bracing. And I've had that before. That's how I know it so well. It's always one thing after another. When it rains, it pours. Okay? This is conditioning. I was doing fine until they did that, right? So it feels like this is happening outside of me. I was all lined up until my child had a meltdown or a breakdown or whatever, temper tantrum at all ages, who knows, or I had an argument with, or this thing happened at work, right? People, they are greatest adventures. Relationships. What else do we say? I'm going to wait and see what happens. That's life is happening to me. Do you feel me on this? That life is happening to me. Once this settles down, and I have to be honest, I find myself thinking that too. I think especially when I'm really busy, when I get through this, then I just need to get through this then. So there's a hint, if I'm honest, of noise that says, I don't have control of this. This is happening to me, and I have to hold my breath to get to the other side instead of, wait, let me conscious create this day, this moment. Let me stand in my power. So these things, they sneak up on us a little bit. They do. And I want you to be able to see a few of these. Let me see if there's anything else that's really good. Sometimes we say, I don't want to get my hopes up. Or sometimes we say, I don't even have a choice. How many times have you felt like, I just don't have a choice? I have to do it. I have to do the thing. We always have a choice, no matter what we think. Even if we think we don't, we do. And it doesn't mean we'll make a different decision, but at least know that you have a choice to do whatever you want. This came out of nowhere. It's really fun when it's a synchronicity, right? But when it's not, it feels like life is happening to me. Right? So just be aware of that. This one, this is just how it is. Some people just get lucky. What if we created our own luck? What if it's happening for you? A lot of times we don't want to make the wrong decision. I don't want to make, I hear this. I've heard my kids say this a lot. I just don't want to make the wrong decision. Don't want to make the wrong decision. So you guys get me, right? When we hope things work out, when we pray for that something changes, those kind of things. And it's not like it's not bad to hope something changes. I am a person of great hope, and I believe in the feeling of the wish fulfilled and all the things. It's just, don't replace your hope for authoring your light and your life and your power. Like, don't trade that out. You can say, I hope this really works out, and not be in your power. And you can also say, I hope this really works out, and be in your power. Stepping into the embodiment of your divine creative power. So we split ourselves, and I like to split these vibrational pairs for you guys so that you can get embodied in obviously your power, but also get embodied in the potential. And the potential is all that power lives in me. And here I am living on the quantum field. Here I am interacting with this divine magnetic field. And in my magnetism, actually create waves as I walk along. Oh my goodness. I would really love to clear the lens, stand in my divine worthiness, because all manifestations come through that first. It's my first vibration. I would really like to be aware enough and remove the things, the beliefs, the stress, the conditioning, the scarcity consciousness that is dimming my light. Let me shake it up enough so that I can see the illusion and let it go, and do the work to transmute the things that hold me back. And I want to operate from my highest self in decision and commitment, in choice and feeling. When we start doing these things, you will, if you practice these 4 things for the next 4 days, you jostle the field. You jostle the field. You would shake up your world. You just would. This in itself is a mini stack. It is a example of how I would teach you to be on the cusp, right? And it's an example, it's a living example of these energies, these universal laws that live on the cusp as an equation, right? And key number 4, live as life is happening for you, is like the ultimate prosperity consciousness. One of them, anyway. It's the ultimate prosperity consciousness where you can look at your life and say, where am I being a vibrational match to life happening to me? Let me actually get real. I'm always, I have a lot of spiritual grit. So I say, Lori, pull your spiritual bootstraps up. I do rise energy very well so that I can get embodied in my power, stand in my power, and clear what needs clearing so that I can start to manifest with the formula, by the way. We manifest from this point. It's powerful. That's how we stand in our power and create. There's a lot of our humanity, and I will lovingly say there's so much of our humanity that dims the light, and most of it is not even real. We just think it is. So to be in your power is to probably even think a little more highly of yourself than you do right now. We typically do not see how powerful we actually are. And it takes work. It's an evolution. It's an awakening. And it isn't going anywhere, but you can collapse the timeline around that if you choose to. So, all right. I hope this was helpful today. I want to give you guys an invitation. Reach out to me if you'd like to explore going further. I have a new circle, a new group coach opportunity coming up called Future Self, the Becoming, where we're going to walk through Dreamweaver and Butterfly and Goddess and Divine Crystalline Creator. And we're going to really rock out the unfolding with that. I've got some really good things in store for you if you're interested in walking that journey with me. It is future self work. It is manifestation work. And this group is going to be a sisterhood that will come together and really be in this becoming together. So I will be teaching you a lot. So with that said, say yes down below. If this is on replay, there will be a chat below. So say yes below, say future self below, and I'll reach out about this next coming group. So let me pop in and see your question. And if you guys have any questions for me, pop in because I'm going to try to answer some of your question. How can I stay in creating myself when my reality keeps giving me more of what I don't want? Well, it's to come back to what we talked today. Did you have a little bit more clarity? I don't know if you're still here. Did you have a little bit more clarity of, did I answer that question already is what I want to know. The next part was searching for a 6-figure job for 2 years. I'm grateful for my job, but I'm so ready for the next big step. Cuspy. That's okay. Hello. You're here. That's very cuspy energy. You feel that, right? I'm so ready for the next big step. Opportunities come, but I don't get the jobs. Can I influence the people? Can I influence the people that hiring? Can I influence people? So like you want to know if you can influence the people that are hiring you? You don't need to. So I get the job so I can create opportunities, but it's hard to get the job itself. So your question is a great one. Number one, can I influence the people? And the one way to influence people, if you want to influence people, is to love them and be grateful for the opportunity. So every single opportunity that you have looks like, I am so grateful to walk through this opportunity. Do you feel me on this? Like you will not influence anyone with your will to give you a job. You can only influence yourself, lay that vision on the field, and let the universe bring you the perfect match to where you are. But if you want to love on those people, if you want to be grateful for every door that is unfolding for you, that is actually the work. So I have a lot to say about this because the path lights up when you do, one glowing stone at a time. It's something that I say all the time. And it is true. The path lights up when you light up. So when you stand in your power, and I gave you these 4 pieces to like chew on today, but when you truly light up, the universe kind of starts to respond. And the dream that you have, starts to be drawn to you because it can't not be. But it's the clarity of your vision meets the love of yourself, meets the love of these opportunities. So I would go, if it were me interviewing, I would be in such gratitude and appreciation for every door that's opened, every interview you've had. You're closer, you're closer, you're closer. You will not influence them. The more that you try to influence them, the more you block your thing. You're going to be attracting people who you're trying to almost like, shift a situation. Manifestation isn't like that. It isn't about like controlling your outcome. It's being in your power and collapsing time to your desired outcome. So I hope that was helpful. Was that helpful? Tell me if that was helpful. You don't have to control them at all. And that's actually good news. It kind of goes back to that 100% yes, yes. Go back to the 100% responsibility model. Go back to the 100% empowerment model and connect with me, because I'd love to talk to you about this and see if this work would help you. It's tweaking it in a different direction. So you can, I use the word jostle a lot, because we really are, we're jostling the energy. And once you start to see how your world, let me just not talk quantum language for a minute, but let's just see how the corporate world or something like responds to your frequency. I'd go into those job opportunities gushing with appreciation for the door. And I would hold yourself as the one who's interviewing. I would stand in your power, these 4 keys first, and see how life responds to you, how the corporate world responds to you, how jobs with 6 figures respond to you. You're clear. I want a 6-figure job. So, but you have to stop blocking yourself, because there's the only thing, you just have to be in you. The power lives within you, which is so nice to know. Okay. I hope that helped. Did that help anyone else in this room? Because guess what? It applies to everything. It applies across the board. All right. It is about our becoming. It really, really is. I've had, I have lots of stories about people who shifted their energy, and from an unexpected, unbelievable place, the thing dropped in. And it was like, I don't even know how that happened. And you can't even make it up. It doesn't mean you don't apply for the job. It means that when you're lined up, your good flows from all corners of the entire universe, and you've got to get out of your own way. It doesn't come through that recruiter. It comes from the field. It comes from the field, and you are powerful on it. Okay. All right, you guys, this ends today's Live with Lori. I really wanted to give you a deeper dive today. Give me your nuggets in the chat. What are you taking away? It's not just about the knowledge. It's really about the embodied nugget that I'm able to like take in and let that jostle my energy and let me like soak that up. I always say, get it in your bones, because when you continue to get it in your bones, what as within, so without. And you have a very activated, magnetic center when you're doing this work. So, all right, you guys, love and adore you. Thank you for joining me live, and I'll see you guys on replay. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye for now.